Gambia government dropped charges against 3 years journal leaders. TRC Executive Secretary says efforts to bring remaining junglers to testify fails. Witness testify on massive arrest of residents of German Jelly in 2004. This and more coming on Gambia 24. Good evening, you're watching Gambia 24 News with me, Mariama Cham, and thanks for joining us. The government of Adama Barrow has dropped the criminal proceedings and various offences against the 3 years journal executive for the 26th January 2020 demonstration. The Attorney General and Minister of Justice Dawda Jallow says in a press release that the decision has been taken after careful consultation and consideration with the President. More in this report.
The Attorney General does not state the reason for the move but says he is not obliged to do so. He has, however, stated that he arrives at this decision after consultation with the President and in conjunction with the spirit of Ramadan. This, he says, is meant to promote peace and reconciliation as the Gambia heads to election in December, but says citizens and residents in the country should remain law-abiding and seek redress through legal means. 3 Years Jotna is a civil society group that called on President Adama Barrow to honor his 3-year campaign promise. The group staged a peaceful demonstration on Sunday, 26 January 2020. President Adama Barrow initially agreed with coalition partners to serve a 3-year mandate, after which he would resign and organize fresh elections in which he wouldn't participate as a candidate. However, the president changed his mind and openly declared at a rally in Brikama that he would follow the constitutional mandate of 5 years instead of the agreement. This brought division among coalition partners as some supported Barrow, while UDP, a former Barrow ally, rejected it. But it was 3 Years Jotna that staged a protest to remind Barrow of the promise. Protesters gathered at Sitting Corner along Banjul Highway, but police fired tear gases to disperse them. They pelted police with stones in reaction, and the event turned violent, and that was when arrests were conducted, while the executive were taken to courts and charged. For iAfrica TV, this is Omar Ahmadu Toure reporting.
The Gambia Press Union has on Monday launched a revised code of conduct for media practitioners. The code that guides media professionals in executing their duties is now named the Cherno Jallow Charter of Ethics for Journalists. According to the GPU officials, the code now contains specific rules on reporting migration, elections, crimes, and courts. Amanda tells us more.
The Gambia Press Union's Code of Conduct is an ethical guide for practicing journalists in the country. The Code of Conduct sets rules and responsibilities of media institutions and workers while guaranteeing the protection of the rights of consumers and subjects of the media content. The union reviewed and revised the code after 3 years with the new realities of the media, but also to capture some areas that were left out. The new rule book called Cherno Jallow Charter of Ethics for Journalists is named after a veteran journalist who earned the nickname Ethics for his insistence on ethical journalism. Mustafa Mbai, head of the Ethics Committee at the GPU board, said specific rules on areas of migration, elections, crimes, and court reporting have been captured in the new Code of Conduct.
Now, the updated version, of course, this Code of Ethics now called the Cherno Jallow Charter of Ethics for Journalists, contains specific rules on reporting migration, elections, crime, and the courts. Online journalism and broadcast journalism are distinctively catered for in this very important code. Now, the previous version contains only 3 sections, if you could recall: general principles, children's reporting guidelines, and the gender-based reporting guidelines. But now with this updated version, of course, we have expanded it to the benefit of we members of the press. In essence, the code provides guidelines for the conduct of journalists, from information gathering to dissemination or transmission in all types of news and information media, be it print, radio, TV, and online.
Cherno Jallow, a veteran journalist, expressed gratitude to the union for naming the new Code of Conduct after him. He added that the union further encourages him to come forward to participate and get involved.
You have done me proud. And I can always say, though I have stepped down in lecturing, I'm still part of you. I'm always available to you. As I said, you are my family, my media family. You are as important to me as my own blood family. I realize that now. I left the Gambia government 34 years ago, or 26 years ago. But still, the Gambia Press Union and you people are still encouraging me to come forward, to participate, to get involved. That alone is compensation enough. Let me tell you, one medicine against aging is to challenge the mind and the body.
Mr. Jallo also underscored the importance of ethics in journalism.
Now, coming to ethics, I have been talking about ethics for a long time. Not because of anything, but ethics represent our value systems. What happens is, any institution that loses its values will die a natural death. And what are these values? These are human values. You put people first, not material first. That's the reason behind the death of communism. In the end, communism put material first and not people first. Today, in our capitalist system, we put profit first before people. And that way we lose the spirit of and our vision and our mission, and that spells the death of any institution or organization.
According to the union, the code recognizes that freedom of speech is a basic element of a democratic society and that free and independent mass media are among the most important institutions in a democratic society. The Code of Conduct for Media Practitioners by the Gambia Press Union was first validated in 2016 for journalists in the country. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Amindao.
As the Muslim feast marking the end of Ramadan is fast approaching, tailors all over the country are busy saving a heavy customer base. The event known as Eid al-Fitr is observed worldwide in prayers and charitable gestures. Fatimata Kasim went out and about looking into the work of different fashion designers customized for the Karite. She now reports.
Last-minute preparations are sweeping across the Gambia as Muslims prepare to celebrate 2021 Eid al-Fitr. While market's population hit the highest number of buyers, tailors work day and night on fashion designs in response to the customers. The pressure on tailors is not only justified by the high demand for few new outfits, but also the short time available for production ahead of the Holy Feast. Morangiran, a tailoring workshop owner, described the 24 hours work pressure activated as a business season for skilled specialists like himself. It is a moment for business to receive after a whole year of setback due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Because so nare har tamit be ñu ne last 15 days wala last 10 days nga bëgg commencer fanan lool mo dé waral ñëp yu bari dé tardé té xam nga.
This is a short time for us and everyone wants to look good for the Eid. That is why the pressure is always high. We are used to it now, so we'll handle it and give it our best. Each season is a different form. There are new system and new style. Everything change. So if you have in your tailoring shop, you will have to see how to adapt to the new system. If I compare last year to this year, we had series of lockdown due to the coronavirus that have changed everything because of the limitation. But thank God, this year is different because there are no tight restrictions. This has allowed customers to bring their materials to us and make us feel at ease to accept their goods, because we will know we have ample time to complete their work. I will say this year is far better than last year. A good number of people have been complaining about the high increment of the stitching fee.
A good number of people have been complaining about a high increment in stitching. However, Modulamin explained the prices of good designs to the cost of sewing materials.
pour ñi ñëw si ñawkat bi ñawkat yi ci seen xel gën a dal pour ñi receive ñaw yi.
If I happens to buy an item for $50, all of a sudden it increased to 100, I will have to charge more than the price I bought it for, and also charge for the manpower too. But sometimes we charge all inclusively. But if the customer wants, we could charge them just for a stitch so that they could buy their own material. We don't always have problem for charging because the customer themselves know the worth of our work. Well, sometimes it is just the customer's fault.
It is common to find customers complaining of not getting timely delivery of service from tailors. Ahmad Sar blamed some of the delays on the side of fashion designers to the high number of contracts in a very short time.
Well, sometimes we see customers, sometimes we see ñawkat.
Well, sometimes it is just the customer's fault. Sometimes it's the fault of the tailor. Because if you are a tailor and you have already collected a lot of materials, you should be able to tell them. But sometimes, even if you tell the customers that you have more materials, you cannot take any more, they will still keep begging you and force you to take their materials. And if that happens, you may sue for them, but it will also cause delay, and some will wait for the last minute and bring their materials as well. So I will say both sides are responsible.
The last few days of the month of fasting is a period during which Muslims invest very much on fashion and food in preparation for the holy feast. With almost every member of the family wishing to dress in a beautiful African attire, every tailoring workshop is compelled to work under serious pressure. For iAfrica News, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
As the public anticipate hearing testimonies from the remaining junglers, Bamagale Jallo, the TRRC Executive Secretary, says the Commission's effort to bring the remaining junglers, including Rambo and others, to testify failed. It could be recalled that these said junglers who carried out most of the atrocities and human rights violations during the Jammeh era fled to Senegal and Guinea-Bissau. Lazy files in this report.
Junglers were the main weapon used by the former President Jammeh to torture and intimidate people who he perceived to be his enemy. As some of the junglers gave testimonies before the Third Commission, many believe that the remaining ones, such as Rambo and Sanamanjang, whose names have been frequently mentioned before the TRRC, will also come and give their testimony. However, in an interview with iAfrica TV, Babagale Jallo, the Executive Secretary of the TRRC, said the Commission has done efforts to make sure that the said junglers testify, but to no avail.
Certainly, we have a lot of evidence from the junglers who testified here, Oya and Malik Jata and others. They came and they testified and they confessed to many of the crimes that were committed by the junglers. So we would have loved to have junglers part 2, and that would have been based on the testimonies of a key witness, this guy, Bailo. Unfortunately, as we know, Bailo was arrested by the German authorities, so he's under custody. He's not available to testify now. We have been making attempts to reach out to junglers in Guinea-Bissau without success. We have reached out to junglers in Senegal and Casamance without success. Malik Manga and Bombarde and so on and so forth. They are in Senegal and Mauritania. We made a lot of efforts to bring them or to have them testify by video link. That has not been possible. And so I'm not sure we will have junglers part 2, even though we wanted very much to have that.
At the end of its mandate, the TRRC is expected to make recommendations for those found guilty to face the law. Mr. Jallo said it will be a disappointment and a betrayal of trust for both the Commission workers and Gambians if the government fails to implement the recommendations.
Well, our mandate is to make findings and recommendations and submit it to the government. Now, what we expect to see and what the victim community expects to see and what the great majority of Gambians and the international community expect to see is for the government to implement the recommendations that come out of the TRRC. I think that is what we expect to see. If anything else happens, that's not the expectation. That would be, I think, a betrayal of the trust of both the Commission workers and the country. So we expect that the government is going to implement the recommendations of the Commission.
Meanwhile, Since all these crucial acts happened during the presidency of Yahya Jammeh, Gambians are with the confidence that the main alleged perpetrator will appear before the commission. Dr. Jallo, however, clears the air about the issue.
I'm not sure about that. I don't think he will appear. Even if he invited him, I'm not sure he will appear. Or if he appeared, he would be a very aggressive witness. I'm sure he will not cooperate. He would trust the commission. I mean, I'm not, reading his mind, but judging from his temperament, I don't think that his appearance would add any great value to the evidence we already have. So I don't know what the commission's decision is going to be, whether to send him an invitation or send him a subpoena to appear by video link. But I don't think he will, honestly.
The TRRC is an independent Gambian institution with a mandate to conduct research and investigations into human rights violations committed under the presidency of Yahya Jammeh. After thorough investigations, the Commission is expected to submit reports and recommendations to the government for implementation. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy C.
That TRC report by Ndesize will take us to a quick break, and we'll be right back with the rest of the news. Stay with us.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
tayumako dafa ne ci man coono di dem dëkk ba dëkkaat rawatina ba foofa ca Sénégal pour jëndi daal jeex na fii ci biir réew mi ak Stroll Company sa jaaxle jeex na waaw di leen defar bépp xeeti daal te itam dinay dégeen rafet ci ay njëkk yu yomba compagnie bi lee di Stroll dinañ la defaral daala aso bi fekkee ne da nga nekk si political party bugg nga nuroo leeg say waay ngay dem foofa ca Stroll Company yi daal di la defaral daala bu dëgër baax te rafet moo xam itam da nga am xew bugg sa yére nuroog sa daala demal seeti ñii di Stroll Company te emun ci loolu dinañ la defaral sa daala si saasi boo demee ñi nata la nga toog wax leen li nga bëgg ñi defaral la ko te itam dinañ defar daala si wholesale wala retail seeti leen foofa sa suncu alaaji te nag lu ci gën a neex mooy doomi Gambian moo ko moom teg ci di dimbale ay ndaw pour ñi am fu ñuy xëyee seeti leen foofa ca suncu alaaji ca Kunkujang Johnson boo demee rek di nga gis seen table nga daal di leen dem seeti sa xol nee nga am sa daale boo yàggami bét mun ngaa nemmeeku seen website bi si www.strollshops.com wala nga oon ñu 7473692 wala 7150195 ak Stroll Company sa jaaxle jeex na ci dem beeg dëkk bi ci daala kese.
Welcome back, and still on Gambia 24. TRC has on Tuesday had the testimonies of 3 witnesses from the village of Jamanjeli after temporarily moving on from the institutional hearings of the justice sector. The witnesses Abdullahi Samba, Lamin Dabo, and Seiko Bayo testified on the dispute between the members of the community and the PI officers on the 14th December 2004, which led to massive arrest and detention. More in this report.
As a result of a 22-year authoritarian rule, human rights violations were adversely committed in the country. In most cases, there were no effective investigations, and most of the perpetrators have not been brought to justice. The arrest of the residents of Jamanjeli was as a result of a borehole installed in the community, and the staff of NAWEC wanted to remove the old borehole and transfer it to another community. According to the witnesses, the old borehole was more sophisticated than the new one, and so they proposed to the staff of NAWEC to disconnect the new borehole. Mr. Abdullah Samba explained what eventually led to the clash between the PIU officers who accompanied the NAWEC staff and the residents of Jamanjeli. According to him, the paramilitary squad came prepared, throwing tear gas at the crowd upon arrival.
In fact, akabiringe tear gas fulanjango faye, sabanjango faye.
In fact, after they threw the first, second, and the third tear gas, that was the time when people came, started arriving from the other parts of the village. That was the time the youth of the village decided to pick stones which were around the roadside and started stoning the paramilitary officers.
He added that the paramilitary eventually retreated to ask for more reinforcement, after which the military came and asked them to leave.
When the para retreated,
after 30 minutes,
we were there till after 30 minutes. We saw the soldiers came in with their vehicle. They also came, there was a small vehicle in front, and a truck was following this small vehicle. When they came and alighted from these vehicles, they didn't talk to anybody. What they said was, disperse. Then after they said to the people to disperse once, twice, after the third one, their leader took a gun from one of them and threw it on the tarmac.
Shot.
I have file about for.
I have fire.
Okay, he fired the gun
Manokang.
on the road.
Kabira fire manokang kesol ming boita manokang inata reflect e monani baramang molkon.
After he fired on the ground, the bullets ricocheted, and that bullets decided and those bullets struck some people, up to 4 people who were wounded with those ricochets.
Witness Sekou Bayo said, after the firing of the live ammunitions by the leader of the soldiers, people dispersed in fear of their life. Then the paramilitary came back and decided to follow the people into their compounds and started arresting and beating up the villagers. According to him, they were detained and tortured by members of the security force. Khadijatu Seka, iAfrica News.
Youths at the Palmarima beach who volunteered to serve as lifeguards called on the government to provide them with life-saving materials such as boats and towels. According to them, they usually receive sponsors from tourists, which has been now hindered by the pandemic. Daisy reports.
Lack of employment opportunities has ever been a concern for Gambian youth, and many of them are usually left fending for themselves. As a result, most of these youth in the country prefer to engage themselves into something that can earn them a source of living. Here are some of those youth who engage themselves into voluntary services at the beachside by saving lives of people who cannot actually swim.
Our
job is to rescue children from dying while in the river, because most of these kids leave their home without the knowledge of their parents. These children usually don't pass through the checkpoints, they use the back door to the beach. This is why we are here throughout the day to monitor them. Most people who come to the beach don't know how to swim. As a result, many people lost their lives. But since we have started working here as lifeguards, we have saved the lives of many people.
Because
Our work is very difficult. Since we were young, we have been into this. We have saved a lot of lives, and we never requested anything from it, because we know that no one can pay us. Only Allah can pay us. And this is why we don't expect anything from anyone.
These youth underline the challenges they encounter and some of the materials they need from the government to carry out their services.
Amuñ bagage te bagage lañ gëna ñiit fire service yi ñoom seen gaal yuñ am noonu mënoon nañ ñu ko jox.
We don't have enough materials that is needed to do the work. The boat that the fire service has, they can give it to us at least, because every day we are here to rescue everyone who is drowned, and sometimes we even take them to the hospital all by ourselves. We are doing this for the sake of Allah, and this is why we need materials such as rescue boat, uniform, boat and tower, because the tower we have right now is not good.
Lifeguards are very important on every side, as they make beaches a safer place for both Gambians and tourists. However, if the incidence of drowning is to be minimized, much attention and support should be given to lifeguards by providing them enough materials as well as to train them. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
That report by Ndaisise on youth who volunteer as safeguards at the Palmarima Beach brings us to the end of Gambia 24. I am Mariama Cham. Thanks for watching and do enjoy iAfrica TV.
Star GSM Electronics. Special Ramadan promotion starting from April 4th to 15 on all our Sloster home appliances such as two-way gas cooker, microwaves, washing machines, stand fan rechargeable that can last for 8 hours, different stand freezers, deep freezers from 140 to 400 liters, blenders, stand and ceiling fans, solar panels ranging from 150 to 600 watts, different types of solar batteries, stabilizer ranging from 500 watts to 2500 watts, originally flat screens from 17 to 65 inches. All our items are durable, energy saving, modern and 2 years warranty. Buy our Sloster deep or stand freezers, 140 liters for only $10,000. Visit our distribution center at Star GSM at Westfield Highway opposite OJ Junction, Talindi Market, or Tabokoro Traffic Light, or call 700-2494. At Star GSM, our appliances are original, durable, modern, and energy saving. Star GSM Electronics.